Hey, what's up guys? This is the video for 7% of change, and we are going to look at how to look for prices when you have a discount price or when you want to add taxes. But before we do that, we want to understand what is a percentage change and how can we use a proportion, and not only a proportion but also the rate of a percent. So first of all, percent of change, that's a ratio where a change in an amount is as a percent. When you are looking at a proportion, you can estimate or you can find the rate of change by using this proportion here. So the first fraction on the top, you guys have the change in the amount. So let's say that from $20 it went up to $23. So what is the change of price and or the amount? On the bottom of the change, you have the original amount, and that's going to equal the rate that it increased, it went up, or decreased, it went down, and over 100. Now we use 100 because that's the 100% that represents the value or the amount of an item. So let's look at an example of how to use this proportion so we can find the rate of change. Keep two things in mind though. The change can be an increase or a decrease. So the amount can go from 20 to 23, or it can go down from 20, let's say, to 15. So let's look at one example. So we have this example here, and we want to determine if it increased or decreased the amount and what is the percent that is changed. So from 20, which is the original amount, it went up to 23. So right away, we know that's an increase. Over here, from 25, it went down to 17. So we know that's going to be a decrease. The way you find the rate of change for these two examples right here is the same proportion. So I'm just going to do one to show you guys how to do the proportion. So let's look at this one here. And first, let's go ahead and set up our proportion. And you have an equal sign with two fractions on each side. So the left fraction equals the right fraction. On the top, you guys will have the change. Now your change is the decrease or increase from one amount to the second amount. So here from 25, it went down to 17. So what is the difference from 25 to 17? Well, that's going to be 8. Now on the bottom, you have the original amount. So for my original, that's the actual number that we start with, which is 25. That's one ratio, equals the other side. On the other side, we have the 100. So I'm going to put the 100 on the bottom, and that's just by default, you put a 100. And on the top, you put the rate that we are looking for. We don't know what that rate is, so I'm just going to use an X. So now you guys will cross multiply and solve for the variable that we're looking for, which is the rate. And let me put just here, rate. That's what we want. So I'm going to cross multiply. 8 times 100, that's going to be 800. And you cross multiply 25 times x percent. We're going to have 25x. I'm going to hold on the percent because we don't really need it. But at the end, I'm going to add that signal or that sign. I'm going to divide by 25. So this would turn into 1 equals, I have my x over here. And on the other side, 800 divided by 25 is 32. Now it is a percent, so I'm just going to add percent on the side of 32. And this right here is a decrease. It is a decrease because the original amount went down to 17. And we can say that it decreased 32%. Now, instead of using a proportion, we can also use these two formulas to actually find the total price when you have an amount and it's increased by some percent, or the amount is decreased, it went down by some percent. So we know that when something goes down, the price for an item, that's a discount. So how do you use the two formulas? Well, if we know that the price of an item, and this can be anything in the store where you guys go buy, and you know the original price is, let's just give an example, $19.99, and they do have sale tax. So when you go pay, you pay 8% sale tax. Well, you're not paying the $19.99, the original price, you're paying a little bit more. So what you have to do is to use the formula, you plug in the numbers, and then you guys will get the total value. One thing that you have to remember is when you use the formula, for example, you want to find the total price, the rate will be the increase in percent, but when you plug it in the formula, you must use decimals. So that percentage, you must turn into a decimal. Same thing with the discounted price. If you put the original price, so let's say that some item is $20, but it has a 20% discount, well, the rate is 20%, but as a decimal, it's going to be 0.20. And you plug it into the formula. And I'll show you guys in a second, and I'll also remind you guys that you have to move the decimal when you turn a percent into a decimal. I'll also notice that the formulas are really similar, but when you guys are looking for the total price, you're paying a little bit more. You have to add the rate, and when you guys are looking for the discounted price, well, that's going to be minus because the price is going to go down. So let's try this example. You want to find the total price, and I'm just going to go to this item here. You have a pair of shoes, $59.99, and you have to pay sale tax of 8%. So that means that you are going to pay a little bit more than $59.99. So the formula will be the total price will be my original price times the quantity of 1 plus the rate. Now let me show you what to do with the rate. The rate is the percent right here, but it's not going to be 8%. My rate as a decimal will be 0.08. And just to refresh your memory, the 8%, I'm going to tell you guys that you have to move 2 to the left. Let's say that we have the 8% up here. To convert this percent into a decimal, the decimal is on the right side of the 8. You move 2 to the left, 1, 2 spaces, so my decimal will be here. And we do have an empty space here, so all we have to do is add a 0. And before the decimal, we like to have a 0 point, and then the 0 for the missing space, empty space, and then the 8. So that's the decimal you guys will use in the formula. So when you plug it in, substitute, my total price will be $59.99 times the quantity of 1 plus the rate in decimal form, 0.08. Go ahead and do that in the calculator. And it comes out to 64.7892 in the calculator. Now, with money, you guys don't really say 0.7892 when you're talking about money. We always want to round to 2 decimal places, so I'm just going to show you guys 2 decimal places is right here. 2 numbers after the decimal, that's when we say 2 decimal places. So we just want all of this right here. Now notice on the right side of the 8, on the right side of the 8, we have a 9. So when this number next to the number that we are rounding to, so we are rounding to hundreds or 2 decimals, when this number is 5 or more, you need to add 1 more to this one, so you round up. So this money, or this amount of money, my total price will be 64.79 cents. And you guys can use the symbol for money, but that is your answer. Now let's go ahead and look at the discounted price, which is the opposite when you guys add sale tax. So discounted price, let me just go to this one here, is when you have an amount. So a pair of jeans costs $24.50 and it has a 30% discount. So to find out what is the discounted price, I'm going to use discounted price. You will take your original price and you're going to multiply the quantity of 1 minus the rate. Now remember, the rate is your percent. My percent is 30. So remember that the decimal is right here, and you move that decimal 2 to the left, 1, 2. So my rate in decimal form is actually 0.30, and that's what we use in the formula. So my discounted price equals my original price, $24.50, times 1 minus, in decimal form, 30% is 0.30. You guys do that in the calculator, and we get for the discounted price 17.15. Now we don't have anything after the 5, so we're okay. We have $17.15. So that is the discounted price. Now let's say that you guys want to find the actual final price with the discounted price plus taxes. So that's a daily thing that you guys might see when you guys go to a store. You like some item, might be clothes, it might be electronics, or a toy, or a game, and you have a discounted price. So when you go up and pay to the register, you have to add to the discounted price the taxes. So first, the item is going to give you guys a price, but you have to find the discounted price. After you find the discounted price, to that price, you're going to add the formula for the total price, which means the taxes. You're going to add taxes to the discounted price. So let's go ahead and try an example. So I'm going to do the one for the sweater. And for the sweater one, the price is $14.99. We want to find the final price. What is the price I will pay with the discount of 12% and sales tax of 6.25. So step 1, you want to find the discounted price first. So my formula, discounted price equals my original price times 1 minus the rate. Now my rate for the discounted price is right here, 12%. Now that's a percentage. As a decimal, you move the decimal 2 to the left. So decimal is right here, 1, 2. So it will be 0.12. So you plug in that into the formula. So my discounted price is $14.99 times 1 minus 0.12. Do that in the calculator, and my discounted price will equal 13.1912. Now remember, we're talking about money. So all we want is all of these digits right here, 13.19. But we have to be careful. If you look at the number next to the 9, it's a 1. So this number is less than 5. You cannot round up. So this stays the same. So my price for my discounted price equals 13.19 cents. Okay, that's not the answer though. Now we have to add the sales tax. So step number 2. For my final price or total price, I'm going to take the original price times 1 plus the rate. Now the number that we're using is the one for the discount. So even though it says original here, we're going to use this number to find out what is the price when you add the rate of taxes. So don't use the original amount, this one, we have to use the discounted price. So the discounted price as a decimal, remember that you have to move the decimal 2 to the left. I'm going to take the decimal, which is right here, 1 and 2 spaces. So my rate as a decimal form will be 0.0625. So that's the one you have to substitute. So when I do the formula, remember original is your discounted price. So it'll be 13.19 times 1 plus 0.0625. I made a mistake. Let me just erase that. 0.062 and a 5. So you do that in the calculator, and your final price, the answer that we're looking for, 14.0143. Now remember that we're not using all those numbers, so we just are using these numbers right here. So you guys need to round up or round down. And the final price when you round, which you don't really round because the number next to the 1 is a 4, that's less than 5. So it says as $14.01. So that's the actual final price. That's the answer that we're looking for when you take the discounted plus you add the taxes. And the last one I'm going to show you guys is when you have an investment, and they say here that we have the price of a share that is $80 per share and it went down, decreased by 46 per share. So the question is, what is the percent? What percent did the price of the stock decrease? So we know that it's going down. So when you guys want to find out what is the rate of change, which means the percent that changed, you guys need to use the proportion. Remember that the proportion, you always have 100 here. You guys have the X percent on top of the 100. You guys will have the original price on the left side and your change on the right side. So when you plug in the numbers, so let me just put here my proportion. 100 is by default, that's what you use. My original price is this, $80. So I'm going to put 80 on the bottom over here. My change, which is right here, my change will be my difference from 80 to 46. So do not use 46. That's not your change. You want to know what is the difference from 80 to 46. And that difference will be 34. My rate, I don't know what it is, so I'm going to put an X. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 34 times 100. That's 3,400. I'm going to multiply 80 times X equals 80X. I'm going to divide by 80. And when you divide by 80, this turns into 1. I have the X on this side. Is 42.5%. If someone asks to round to the whole number, well, that 42.5 can round up to 43 because the 5, this number, turns this one into a 3. When this number next to the 2 is 5 or more, you can round up to 43. So you guys can have a whole number, 43%. You guys can have the exact decimal, 42.5. Here in this example, they don't ask for whole number, but that was just a little bit extra to show you guys what to do if they ask for that whole number. So make sure you guys do your homework, practice, and I'll see you guys later.